Will you join the dark side for the all-new Bmw Xm?
It's already clear right now that this vehicle here will split opinions. The Bmw Xm is a dedicated Bmw M model, the first one since the legendary Bmw M1. And here they decided to go with an SUV, a performance SUV, because they thought, well, there's the Lamborghini Urus, for example, or the Aston Martin DBX, and we want some share of that market, actually. This car is for people who want to attract attention and maybe don't want to be liked by everyone, indeed. And you can see it here with this huge double kidney, illuminated as well. And these golden accentuations here are standard, actually. You can depict them and go for a black frame, but they are actually standard because BMW wants this car to look unique and special. Cape York Green is this unique color as well. And well, you see, I always have this hobby that I try to wear my clothes fitting to the vehicle color, and I really had a struggle today. I hope it is like at least somehow fitting. 21 to 23 inch, and this one I need the biggest 23 inch, once again with the golden accentuations. Most screaming out model, but you can also go for, can you hear say for more subtle ones? You know what I mean. The same accounts for the golden strip here. This is once again standard, but you can also have it blacked out for a more sinister and less golden look, so to speak. The overall length is 5 meters 11 or 201 inches. The wheelbase is the very same of the BMW X7, and they do also have a base platform share, but they have a lot of differences as well. And you can see that the body form is not the same. So it's also a little bit shorter than the X7, and here it's more like a, so to speak, an X7 coupe, but once again the dedicated M model, here also with even more contrasting accentuations. You might ask yourself, why would they not go for a supercar for an own BMW M model? Well, the thing is that the time for supercars is rather over. Today's electric vehicles have great acceleration figures for maybe like an, think about the Kia EV6 has supercar figures, for example, and then this supercar segment is getting less attractive while the SUVs are still surging in sales. And so BMW decided to go for the BMW M model, the first dedicated one after the M1 with an SUV. It is, in a way, 2.8 tons. And the question is, can it still give you a lot of performance and driving fun? Well, they try to achieve that by technology. For example, rear axle steering as standard, so at lower speeds, the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction than the front wheels, at higher speeds in the parallel direction. Has an adaptive suspension, no air suspension though. So you know that the BMW M philosophy is rather not going for air suspensions to give you more contact, more feeling to the road. And also an anti-roll stabilization. Everything is basically standard with this vehicle. You only pick the colors and some options on the interior, but that's it. And yeah, I guess the price will also be accordingly. Have you already decided for love or hate? Have you decided for the dark side? Well, it might continue right here. Look at that, the horizontal integration of these lamps. And then it's really a very bold statement also in the rear. And come closer here. These are laser engraved BMW logos. Also a past citation of the BMW M1, looking really retro racing alike, definitely. Well, talking about racing, the top speed here of this vehicle is 250 kilometers an hour, optional with the driver's package 270 kilometers an hour. That's then 168 miles per hour. I don't want to meet that at that speed on the German Autobahn. I'd rather do it myself than later on in a driving test. Here in the lower part, look at that. Once again, the golden accentuations. And what? Look at these exhausts. These are definitely not fake. Real exhaust tips, of course, supposed to be for BMW M vehicle. And interesting that they're not next to each other, but in this vertical layout, really massive from the design. Do you like that? I mean, just look at that, these sculptural lines here. So, I mean, what I like about this vehicle is that they want to be unique. The rest of the factors, I will tell you more about that later, what I think about it. Let's first concentrate on the facts. let me open the hood and let's take a look. Of course, you know that always these pulling it 2 times here with BMW. And what we have here is a 4.4 liter V8. Here we go. With either 650 horsepower or with the later label red 750 horsepower. This version here goes 4.3 seconds to 1 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour. The later available version will be even quicker. And it's not only the V8, it is a plug-in hybrid. So they went for this plug-in hybrid because they say our true BMW M model will be electrified. So we can also expect that the future BMW M5 will get the very same powertrain here. 26 kilowatt hour is the battery capacity, supposed to give you a maximum range of 80 kilometers or 50 miles. Up to a speed, pure electric driving, 140 kilometers an hour or 90 miles an hour. Of course, in most cases, both powertrains will be used, especially when you hit the accelerator pedal. So that's the way they can get the most power out of this vehicle. How does it work with the all-wheel drive? It will still have a rear-wheel bias for this all-wheel drive because the electric motor is integrated in the whole transmission. So there's no separate electric motor on the rear axle or something. No, that's not the system they're using. They're integrating it. So basically everything is working together unless you go for the EV-only mode. That might be a thing for emission zones in cities or something, or that you're a little bit more quiet when you're starting up the vehicle in the morning. This is the vehicle key with the M colors. Yeah, that's it. Cape York green vehicle color here. Would you pick this color? Tell me in the comments. Would be looking forward to that. Yeah, sorry. Now I close the vehicle. Yes, it's always because when you put your finger right here, then you close it. When you put your hand on the inside here, then you open it. And door closing sound. That sounds cool. And then inside of the doors, we see things we haven't seen before, especially this color combination. In this case, also fitting to the exterior color. And also the rest of the interior has specific M gauges here, for example, the M1 and M2 button. We know that from other existing M vehicles. There you can have your individualized driving modes. For example, you say like, hey, M1 is maybe like a mid-sporty driving mode for me, and M2 will be like sporty all the way. I will put everything from the assistance system and helping ESC aids, everything off. Then you can do that here individually. Also contrast stitching. Still real buttons on the steering wheel. The seats are in that sporty M style as well, with a lot of shoulder support, for example here, and also have these nice illuminated logos right here. So that's also a very cool idea. The car does give you also a very distinct interior smell. This would be a turn off for, especially for Chinese customers who expect that the car doesn't smell at all from the interior. And one of the reasons is that they still use real animal skin in this color and in this car, and there might be like 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 cows in here. And you might think of what is the reason behind that? Because it's 2022 and BMW says we want to be a very sustainable brand and we want to go for more electrification, also for more sustainability. But here there's no other alternative to that. And that's, of course, from a customer's perspective, not acceptable. The seating comfort, however, is actually pretty good. So you have this combination then here of, like SUV high seating position. At the same time, you have a lot of support so that when you're driving a little bit fast, which you will do in this vehicle, being kept tight. Steering wheel can be adjusted electronically like this. So how does it feel also when you compare like an X5, X7 or something? You do feel that they're sharing the same base platform, but you sit lower. It definitely feels sportier. You feel more integrated in the vehicle. You don't have this super command driving position you would have in the X5 or in the X7. It's really, it is from the exterior still an SUV, but from the inside, when you feel how you sit here, you already think, this is definitely going in the sports car direction. BMW OS 8, 12.3, 14.9 screen, so 2 screens, but they're integrated in this one dash. And you already see here you have special M gauges here also inside the menu. and also throughout the rest of the interior. Here, very cool from the ambient lighting here, very reduced design. Then carbon fiber here, that's actually quite cool because you don't have so much black piano lacquer then. And then we also know this here where you can adjust the shifting, for example, that you have a more crisp and faster shifting. So this is special to the M cars here, that you also have a real shifting knob, of course, still. And here is then the setup for the M modes, for example, where you can switch between normal road driving or sporty driving, and also the setup button where you can then individualize your driving modes. Oh, and then of course here this special exhaust button where you can spice it up even more. Digital instruments, they have this split view, also special M gauges. Left side you'll see the speed, on the right side you will see the RPM. And here in the infotainment you can see when you are in this M setup, then you can fine-tune your chassis, steering and so on. And this you can also set to the M1 or M2 button, for example. So here, there we go, M1 or M2 configuration, and then you can really say like, yeah, this is my mode, I want to have this in Sport Plus, maybe steering a little bit lighter or stiffer and so on. So highly customizable. This is what they want to do here with their M vehicles. And this lower part here will then be the AC unit, so no real dials for that. We already know it from the OS 8. At least it stays always in this position then, so you can get along with that more or less. And what they also do is get customer feedback and feedback from our channel. And we said, hey, why don't you reintegrate the AC on or off function, that you can have this, you know, like making it less humid in the interior, so you can turn it on or off. So that's actually also possible. Other than that, the home menu looks like this, also with a special gauge. Here the visualization also with the fitting color, for example. And then you have this gauged view here with all the apps. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, wireless connection and wireless only indeed. Sound system, by the way, either 16 speakers Harman & Kardon, or here Bowers & Wilkins 20 speakers. So not only here, but you have another one here down there, for example, and both will actually do fine. And look at that integration here of the inside roof here, microfiber in this 3D landscape sculptural style, and I can also change the color. It is on the cost of not having a panoramic roof. So you cannot open it, you cannot see through. It looks like you could also remove it as a shade, but no, it's not. It's fixed, but then you have this special effect. It is something special, and it is something new and unique. That's what I love about it. However, on the cost of not being able to go for a panoramic roof, not so sure about that. What is your take on this? If mom and dad are going racing, what about the kids here in the rear? Well, even for really tall kids, no problem. You know, I'm 189 or 6'2", and this still leaves some headroom, although we have like a little coupe-alike style here, no problem indeed, and a lot of legroom here, as it's the X7 wheelbase, although the seats are very thick here, of course. And it is very comfortable here in the rear, actually. Maybe even more comfortable in the front. I could very well imagine being chauffeured in here, so the seating ergonomics here is actually luxury sedan-alike. So yeah, that's indeed very comfortable. That's on a plus note. And here, this part here, adaptive cup holders, you can fold it down, and you can also use this one here as a ski hatch, for example. Other than that, you're of course not as flexible as with the BMW X7 here in the rear. That's not the intention. And with 530 liters of luggage capacity, you lose 220 liters in comparison to an X7. You can also get a bag here with a charging cable, for example, for the plug-in hybrid. You can see here you lose especially a lot of height, indeed, for this big plug-in hybrid battery. This is here just a cover you could remove. I already folded one half of the seat. It's a 1/3, 2/3 split. So you still have a well-usable trunk, but there is, of course, losses here because they need to store the battery somewhere. I can at least stand underneath here somewhat. Well, a super interesting vehicle for sure. I would like to know from you. Are you on the love or the hate side? Have you joined the dark side already with this vehicle? There are ups and downs with that one, definitely. So what I really like is that they are somewhat daring and say like, hey, we want to create something unique, you know, in a car world where a lot of models always look the same and through all the segments they start looking the very same. I think it's cool that there is some differentiation and also some fresh ideas. Hey, not everyone is loving golden wheels, but I mean, offering golden wheels for a special vehicle that is, as it stands here right now, about 180,000 euros or dollars, why not? However, the concept then with going so high in the weight with a plug-in hybrid drivetrain, 2.8 tons, you move a lot of weight on the road and you're not deciding yet, saying like, hey, we got an all-electric SUV that is, you know, our sports thing. You know, I'm not so sure about that. The plug-in hybrid is still a compromise. And of course also that on the interior you still only get animal skin, whereas in other segments, even for the BMW 7 Series or the i7, the electric version, they offer great alternatives now. They have that, but did not put that in this vehicle. So overall, I think, I'm a fan of the uniqueness, but I'm not a fan of the whole concept and that they weren't consistent with what they do instead. This seems to be like it is set off from the rest of the corporation, which is in a way also intended. But is it the right decision? I want to know that from you. Join us in the comments. And of course, well, I'm more a fan of the BMW X7 facelift. This one can also be bought with strong engines, definitely. That's pretty cool. And of course, also tune into the BMW i7 or the new 7 Series.